Welcome back to Not So Pro Football Talk. We are coming at you guys right after Championship Sunday. Vincent's over here with his new jersey. I still haven't put up mine. He's looking nicer, cleaner setup than mine. Very jealous right now. But we are coming off of a awesome Sunday where the Niners got creamed, unfortunately, uh, and the Chiefs and Bengals game, that was a really good game. Everybody's mad right now because the refs apparently ruined it all. I don't believe it went that far, in my opinion. But it was a good championship Sunday. I'm very sad though because football is almost over. We have this stupid Pro Bowl to look forward to this weekend. That I don't know if you watch this stuff. I mean, if I'm like bored and have nothing to do, maybe I'll watch it. But nah, I'm not excited about it. And then we got one last game: Eagles versus the Chiefs. I almost had a perfect bracket,
Almost.
almost. But I thought it was a really good. I think we've had a really good playoffs in general. Vince,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on the overall playoffs this year? Obviously, the Jaguars versus the Chargers game, I think, takes the cream of the crop as the best game
Yeah.
this playoffs. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would agree with you there. The Jaguars Chargers game was insane, but I think also this Bengals and Chiefs one was pretty not close to like rivaling it, but it was second for sure in my opinion. It was just a good game. I think playoffs overall have been pretty good on the NFC side. It's been pretty much all defense. On the AFC side, it's been all offense. It's like a tale of two halves in the NFL right now, but. I really like it. I like this past weekend for the games that I got to watch. I got to watch both games, but like little parts here and there because I had some stuff to do. But football has been good in my opinion. I'm super sad that it's going to be going, but we did get some news that the cap is going up, right, Reed?
Yes, sir. It's gone up in I think 20 million,
20
I
million.
believe. So that it's around where everybody predicted it to be.
Mhm.
So it wasn't exceeding expectations like it did last year. But cap went up another 20 million. Business is booming in the NFL. Everything's going well. They needed boost it a little bit more to get help out the Packers here with their salary cap, though. Okay, help a guy out. But let's go ahead and get into these games. All right. Let's go ahead and start off with the first game of Sunday: Niners versus Eagles, and we'll address the biggest thing that happened in the game right off the bat. Purdy, BCB, big confidence Brock, just gets rocked. I said it last week that I wasn't feeling confident about this Niners offensive line against this amazing Niners front, and I was right. And it ended up getting Brock Purdy hurt. They got to him, hit the arm, ended up being a fumble. Eagles recover it, and Purdy goes out. I believe it was a UCL injury, correct, Vincent?
Yeah, so that's basically an ulnar ligament. Basically like how the knee has ligaments, the elbow also has ligaments, so he tore that completely.
Gotcha. Yeah, so he goes out. He immediately goes to Shanahan and says how he can't play. He can't go out there. I thought it was a really crappy move from him. I thought he was scared or was just wasn't confident in himself, which was weird coming from big confidence Brock, you know. But yeah, I wasn't really happy with that. But it turns out he did actually really get injured, and he wasn't just pulling himself in the game. He just wanted to give the team the best chance to win, which was putting Josh, I think Jacobs out there. That's his last name. So yeah,
Josh Johnson, there you go.
Josh Johnson. There we go. I knew it
Yeah.
was a J and J. Teddy Belcher, thank you for coming back, man. What's that thing on your hat? Which hat? Which one? How you feeling about those Bengals, man? Who day? Who day? Who day?
Who dey? Who dey?
Yeah,
Jeez.
yeah. I feel that little sad little what do they call the little frog, Vincent?
I don't know what they call him, but I see it everywhere all the time.
All right. AJ says it wasn't the line backup tight end. My apologies, AJ. I apologize. And then that D line really messed you guys up. Where was I? Yeah, so Brock Purdy goes down. And then Josh Johnson has to step up. Doesn't play absolutely horrible in my opinion, but definitely doesn't play very well. AJ, I was talking with him yesterday. He absolutely ripped him for that fumble that happened where he took his eye
Oh yeah.
ball. As a backup quarterback coming in, where really he was fourth string. That coming into a championship Sunday game against the NFC's best team in the Eagles' #1 seed. I mean, you got jitters, man. You're playing in Philly. It's hard. Obviously, you can't do that, but I give him that, man. I give him that. Man, yeah, Niners. You cut Kurt Benkirk. He was just sitting on the couch. He was ready, but you decided to get rid of him, and it will haunt you for the rest of your life. You could have won with Kurt Benkirk. Just messing around. Obviously, huge Kurt Benkirk fan over here. If you don't know who that is, you guys have been watching this show. But yes, game keeps going on. Josh Johnson ends up getting hurt. There's obviously that big play where fourth down, Jalen Hurts absolutely launches it to what's his name?
Oh, we had this problem last week. I know
Yeah,
who you're talking about.
I was for his name.
I know he's Babyface. We'll call him Baby.
Yes, Devontae Smith. That's what his name is. Yeah, he comes down with the ball. It looks like an incredible catch, reaching out with one hand, bringing it down to his body as he hits the ground. But it turns out that ball popped out. Definitely 100% incompletion. Did not have complete control as he goes towards the ground. And he's a very intelligent player, apparently. As soon as he gets up, he goes like this, signaling to his entire offense, "Hey, we need to get this ball snapped. We need to get this ball snapped." He may have thought he may have caught it, or he knew there was like 50-50 chance, whatever, but he knew that we wanted to get this thing snapped so we can 100% sure that we pick it up and Eagles get the playoff. Really disappointed by the NFL officiating for not for the Sky judge not to stop the play and take a closer look at that. We saw that a lot this year, and it helped correct a lot of bad calls. I was really confused at not looking at this one. And the announcers, whatever you call them, calling the game, they said, "Oh, he doesn't have all the angles yet. He didn't see that replay angle yet." It's like, no, that's not true. That guy has every single camera in the stadium in front of him. He saw that. He didn't end up calling it. I didn't like that, but I also blame a little bit on Kyle Shanahan for not throwing the challenge flag.
But
Yes.
I will defend the 49ers here because AJ's not here to do it.
Okay.
Since I am from the NFC West, Kyle Shanahan said that he only had one video playing, and it was the one where it looked like he caught it, and that was the one that they were playing inside the stadium of Philadelphia. So I forgot what the stadium is called, but they only had one replay going, and it was the one where it looked like Devontae Smith caught the ball. So in his defense, he says he didn't see all the camera angles like we were at home. That's why he didn't know if he should have thrown that flag or not.
For sure, 100%. I was gonna say that.
Okay.
Yeah, all good. But from what AJ tells me about the Niners, Kyle Shanahan very much relies on the guy up in the booth to tell him, "Hey, you should challenge this, or you shouldn't challenge this." So I would imagine that guy played into it also. But overall, if you see a wide receiver trying to get the play snapped because he very obviously knows this was probably not a catch, I don't know. Maybe that gives me an itch to throw it. But I come from or a head coach that just throws it all willy nilly. So, I have a different outlook on it, I guess.
Pete Carroll's the same way.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur just we love wasting timeouts over here, man. We love wasting them. But overall, it was just a game where nothing could go the Niners' way. Absolutely anything, any play, any injury, any penalty.
Yeah.
The only thing that went their way was apparently a 49ers fan was controlling the Skycam and blocked the punt. That was about the only thing that went well for them in that game. Vincent, I know you weren't able to watch the whole game, but what are your thoughts on the Niners? Obviously, their defense. I thought their defense. I'll pass it off to you a second, but I'm just thinking about this right now. Their defense honestly did not play that bad. Obviously, the Eagles put up 31 points, but there wasn't a whole yards to go with that. Those 31 points. Jalen Hurts 121 passing yards, and I think around in total there's about 160 rushing yards. So only about 280 total yards or offense from what I can see off of my just quick addition and subtraction. So not really like that. It's impressive for me. But it was really just the offense of the Niners putting the Niners defense in bad situations. 4 rushing touchdowns. Kind of crazy in my opinion. But Vincent, what are your thoughts on this game as a whole?
So I was not able to see the ending of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, but by then I knew that the score was 28-7. But in the beginning, I was watching as well, and going into halftime, I believe it was 14-7. I'm not too sure if they had gotten the touchdown there. I don't know if my recollection is bad, but it was a close game, and the 49ers were not out of it even when Brock Purdy was down. Travis Ward was playing pretty well, in my opinion. Eagles' offense was just – they played better because they had no momentum. Everything was going wrong for the 49ers. It's not that the Eagles outright destroyed the Niners. It was just they had a lot of bad breaks. They had a lot of bad flag calls. They had a lot of bad just plays in general. Like every time it seemed like they went on there on offense or defense, there was always one play that changed the outcome of that drive. So in my opinion, I don't blame the officiating either. It was pretty much on both sides here and there. Everybody got their calls. That's how it's been the entire playoffs. It always seems like one team always gets the bad end of it, but that's football. I mean, it's the way that officiating goes, sadly, and it looks like it makes the NFL scripted, but that is totally not the case. I mean, when you look into it, it's totally different. But in my opinion, Niners defense did good. Brock Purdy just going down was the final straw. Like you really can't come back from that. And then Johnson also getting a concussion, or at least in concussion protocol. I think that the Niners were just out of options. Christian McCaffrey pretty much was their next man up, I think that they were saying in the announcer booth. So it just wasn't good at all. Like as soon as Brock Purdy went down, I think that was the end of it. That's what I saw, at least.
For sure. Yeah. And it really fell all apart in those like last 2 minutes of the second quarter, where the Niners offense just turns the ball over, and the Eagles are able to get 2 easy touchdowns before going into half. The game just got away from them, and with Johnson going down, you became way too one-dimensional. You knew they weren't going to throw the ball. It was just run. It's just watch the ball and go towards it. That's all the defense had to do.
Yep.
You can run as many trick plays as you want, but just keep your eye on the ball. So
yeah,
really,
I agree.
Yeah, really disappointing from the Niners. I think if they were able to play that game again with their team fully healthy, obviously the team going into this week, I think that we would definitely have a different outcome without Brock Purdy getting hurt. Whether the Niners actually win the game, I don't know about that. I think the Eagles have a very amazing roster, but I don't think it would be a 31-7 game again. So, hey, I think these are both two teams that can definitely be back here the next following year. Definitely.
And I believe that almost all of both rosters are pretty much signed as long as it goes like for star players. So, yeah, I definitely agree with you there. These teams will not be quiet the next few years after this.
Yep. It really helps when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal. There's a lot you can do.
Yeah.
I miss those days. But let's go ahead and move over to the AFC side. AFC, it's been a crazy playoff race, basically, bracket. Really, really good games all around, in my opinion. And Chiefs versus Bengals did not disappoint. Came down to the
Three
last
points.
3 points at the very end, where the Chiefs take the lead, and it all came down really to that penalty. And if that penalty didn't happen, the Chiefs don't score there. It goes into overtime, and who knows who actually wins that game. Um, yeah, that was just a bonehead play. I don't blame the guy. A lot of Bengals fans are absolutely hating on him. Um, and I really feel bad for the kid. He's only like 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
He's a
From
young
Texas.
player. Young player. It's a big moment. You just want to try to make a play, and obviously Patrick Mahomes is out there. That's 100% a penalty. It just sucks that it comes down in the most crucial moments to help the Chiefs win. But hey, that's what happens when the Bengals go to the land and the home of the Chiefs.
Oh my geez, yeah, man, it was a crazy game all throughout. I got to watch the second quarter all the way on, just because I was somewhere where I could not watch the first quarter of this game. But it seems like I came in at the right time because when I came in, it was 14-7. Chiefs were up, and the Bengals were driving, and that's when they scored. And that's when the game kind of like just it was like two race cars at trying to edge each other out all the way until the fourth quarter. But yeah, it's sadly what you were talking about, Reed, with Joseph Osai. He was a rotational player basically for the Bengals right now because he wasn't the starter, but just a bad break. It looked like he almost like pretty much injured himself for a long time right after he had
Mm-hmm.
that little nudge of Patrick Mahomes. His knee subluxed and overextended in the wrong direction. It was wild. But poor guy. I mean, some of his teammates were consoling him, and then some of the teammates, as we saw, were not.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's horrible to see that's a brother you go to war with. I mean, I don't know why that happens, but I mean, heat of the moment, emotions are going crazy. You're at one of the biggest stages in football. But yeah, I think that's unacceptable. Both the penalty, you got to be smarter than that, and both what happened after the game ended. But a great game overall, coming down to 3 points again. Now it's a rivalry. From what Travis Kelsey said, he's like, it's not a rivalry until both sides of the rivalry win. So the Chiefs finally have a win over the Bengals with Joe Burrow at the helm. But great game overall. It seems like every time these two play, it's going to come down to 3 points because that's how it's been the past 4 or 5 times. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Big storyline was it's no longer Burrowhead. It never has been
Yeah,
Burrowhead. It's
it's
Arrowhead.
Arrowhead.
There was a lot of angry Chiefs about all the smack talk the Bengals were giving, from Eli Apple to Joey Burrow. There was a lot of smack talk, and it ended up Chiefs coming up on top by 3 points. And hey, they get the last word. Uh, Eli Apple gets to go to Cancun on 3. And yeah, man. But I want to highlight the receivers in this game really
Oh
quickly.
yeah,
Both I thought both of the running games were basically
they
like
were inexistent in my
inexistent. Nobody was really running at all for the most part.
Yeah, I don't even
So
think any running back had double-digit carries,
Isaiah Pacheco had 10 carries. That's
10
about it.
carries. Yeah,
Yeah.
dang.
But the two guys I want to highlight, obviously, there's Travis Kelsey, who's incredible, has a back injury, and then Jamar Chase, who had a good game. But there's two guys I want to highlight from each team, and I'm going to go Chiefs first, and that's my guy MVS from the Packers, who had 116 yards, 6 catches, and a touchdown. He's showcased everything that I wanted him to do in Green Bay. Obviously, there's little flashes of it in certain games here and there, but he really turned it up in this game. Had some really good catches, some really big plays to help put the Chiefs up on this Bengals team, and I really liked from what I saw. Now, I do know MVS, and I know this isn't going to be every single game type of thing. He is as inconsistent as they come, unfortunately, for him. But in the Super Bowl, I hope he can have another outcome like this. I really like the guy. Once a Packer, always a Packer. Unless you start trash talking the Packers, Zadarius Smith. Yeah, not gonna go any farther than that.
No more comments there, Reed.
Yeah, Grid Jennings, whatever. But yeah, I love MVS. Hope he does a great. Hope he gets a Super Bowl ring, something he wasn't able to do with the Packers. I hope they're really the best for him. And then the guy I want to highlight on the Bengals is our guy T. Higgins. T. Higgins had a really good game, 6 catches, 83 yards for a touchdown. I remember, I don't off the top of my head, I don't exactly remember what he did on that touchdown, but I do remember it was a really great play. I'm trying to remember exactly. Vincent, if you could look it up and remind me.
I'm not 100% sure, but I will look it up.
All right. Thank you, sir. But T. Higgins had a great game. Really gave this Bengals team a chance to win. With nobody else really scoring a touchdown except Samaje Perine with a rushing touchdown. I think the biggest thing for this Bengals offense was just they weren't consistent with, especially with Joey Burrow. He only had 1 touchdown for 2 interceptions. Turning the ball over in a championship game, your chances of winning get really slim with that. So definitely would love to see some better things from him as far as being not turning the ball over, basically. Vincent, did you find what exactly he did on that touchdown?
Yeah, man. So he was covered by basically the corner who he was going against and then the safety that came over to help because it was a 27-yard touchdown. He was if you're looking at it from Joe Burrow's perspective, he was in the right hash corner going up to the pylon. The dude jumped up and looked like he had a 50-inch vertical, jumped over both guys, caught it, turned around, and he just got the touchdown. I mean, it was an amazing play. You don't really see that from T. Higgins too often, but today he showed out, and I think he was their top receiver at the end of the game.
Yep, that is true.
But yeah, incredible catch. I just watched it right now, had it on mute, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. You can see with these 2 championship games that really the passing game is taking over at the NFL. Obviously, the Eagles on their side, it was just all rushing, not a lot of yards or averaging a lot of yards, but 4 touchdowns. And then with the Bengals and Chiefs, they basically both completely forgot about the run game, passing a lot of almost every single down. It's this new age NFL that we've been seeing for the past few years, and they're just continuing it. But yeah, if you guys are watching right now, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you are new to the channel, hit the like button if you're enjoying what you're watching. But go ahead and hit the subscribe button. NSP, that's who we are, not so pro. We put a lot of good football content out there. So if you want to stay tuned, see what we're doing, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can stay tuned. But overall, I think this was a great game. People really are saying that NFL is rigged after this game. That they don't want that Goodell didn't want to see Joey Burrow in the playoffs again or the Super Bowl again, and wanted to see Mahomes, and it was rigged for the Chiefs. In my opinion, I think officiating affects games, and sometimes it sucks. There was the 2 big officiating plays was the where they didn't stop the clock, and because of that, the ref ran onto the field, called off the play mid-play basically, and made them redo the down.
Which, I mean, it's his job to make sure that the time is like going the way it should be, but it was just a huge turnaround on that point in time. Like, to do that, and then the next play they have a flag holding against I forgot his name. I think it was Eli Apple, honestly. They had the holding call. turned out for the Bengals that now the Kansas City Chiefs have first down and they have another opportunity to go ahead and get into field goal range. And it was just a culmination of things over the entire NFL playoffs. I think that's why people are making all these assumptions. But unfortunate, but everybody's got to do something. So they're doing their jobs. The NFL players are trying to win a game. Emotions are high, especially for fans.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, there was that one, and then there was the intentional grounding, where they said he wasn't outside the pockets and didn't get past the line of scrimmage. Yeah, there's just a few things here and there like that where it just really stunk, you know. But at the end of the day, if you actually think that there's this big like conspiracy out there of, hey, let's rig these games to have like the best outcome and we can win a bunch of money in betting or et cetera, that's just not true.
Not with all the players that are playing in the NFL.
I mean, there's been like certain things like that in basketball or baseball, where there's been rigging of games, and there's also been what was it? What do they call it when they were targeting players? The Saints. What was that called?
I'm not 100% sure. Elaborate for me. Maybe
remember when they were placing bounties. Remember when the Saints were placing bounties on players?
Oh yeah.
They call it Bounty Gate or something. I forget. But yeah, there was a little bit of that back then. But I just don't believe that without any like real proof that these games are actually rigged.
Yeah,
I just don't believe it's happening. I think if the NFL knows that if something like that came out where they were purposely rigging games to have the perfect storyline or get their best outcome or whatever, the NFL just absolutely it falls apart basically. Yep. And they know that they can't screw this up. Just let the players play and things will happen to create the best storyline out there. That's my thought.
I think when you have a 32 team, the NFL is made up of 32 teams. There's no way you can rig it enough to where you know a specific team is going to win it at the end of the year. Like, so much things happen. Injuries, you can't fake injuries. You can't just go out there and be like, oh, I'm going to break my leg today. It has to go with the script. You can't say that, oh, I'm going to go ahead and have the worst game of my life out of nowhere. Like, it just doesn't work like that. You know, everything's written in the stars, but the NFL is not the one creating those stars. So
for sure. What is up, Nestor? Thank you for tuning in, man. We appreciate it. So those were 2 games this championship Sunday. We're going into a Super Bowl. Where's the Super Bowl at? Actually, I actually don't know that. It's in Arizona. Wasn't it just in Arizona not too long ago?
No, I think last year it was in Dallas. Wait, are you talking about like not so far off, like couple?
Yeah, I feel like we like a few Super Bowls we were in Arizona.
Yeah. I think I do remember that.
It's a newer stadium, I believe, so they just want to go to a good area. But Eagles versus Chiefs in Arizona, it's going to be a hell of a game. I really hope this is a close one where it comes down to the wire. I want a good Super Bowl, man. I want something to go off on, to enjoy the offseason, etc. I really hope we get a crazy ending.
Yeah, man. We can only hope. It's getting closer and closer, but it's gonna come. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see. And Eagles fans, because I think you guys are going to win this. Even though I predicted Joke the Smoke. Thank you, Corey, for tuning in. We appreciate you. Let's go Eagles. Big Eagles fan. Joke the Smoke is. But Eagles fans, this is what we're going to end off on. Please, for the love of God, if you guys win the Super Bowl, do not burn down your city.
Do not eat horse poop.
Do not eat horse poop. Don't do it.
It's not worth it.
You guys can have a party, have a few drinks, but don't riot. There's no reason to flip a car. There's no reason to burn a building down. Learn how to act, guys. Come on.
Yeah, act like you've been there, because you have been there. You were there.
This is the bad. This guy's bad, man.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, act like you've been there because it wasn't too long ago when you won the last Super Bowl. So, jeez, oh god.
Joke the Smoke says can't burn down a city I'm not in. That's very true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Oh
Jeez,
man.
man.
Yeah. Hopefully, I really hope for a great Super Bowl. I definitely think the Eagles are going to 100% win this game, but stay tuned. We're going to be breaking down everything for the Super Bowl on what we think is going to happen from the offensive to the defensive side. Hey, hell, we might even talk special teams if we're getting crazy out here.
Right?
There ain't a lot going in the NFL on right now other than coaching hires and stuff like that, and which we will talk about soon also. But yeah, guys, we ended off on that note. Please don't burn down your city. It's a great city. You guys have Philly cheesesteaks. Come on.
Oh yeah.
Come on.
We both love Philly cheesesteaks, Reese.
They're amazing. They're amazing. So please don't do that. AJ says burn it down, burn something else around you and tweet it.
I think it's
Don't do that. Don't do that. Joke to Smoke.
Don't do it.
Don't do it, man.
Don't listen to that guy.
But if you guys are still watching, thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was a great championship Sunday. Let's hope for an even greater Super Bowl. And we'll see you guys next time. Keep on grinding.